Okay, I don't know how this sounds, so you'll have to forgive me. This is a pretty low budget thing we've got going on here, but what I'm showing you here is the approved copy that I put my stamp of approval on. This looks good to me. And you'll notice that I like to use oversaturated colors. I think that I just like using. I don't have any particular philosophy. This is just the way I do things. So this is the copy that I got from Dorrance that I didn't approve of. They kept on. I've got a box or two of these, and if you take a close look, you can see the oversaturation, the loss of detail that you get, whereas this is the approved copy. And I've complained about this over and over again. Approved, not approved. Oversaturated color. Approved, not approved. And you can see that it's a touch blurry, especially when you look at the words. Take a look at the approved copy, how sharp and clear that is. And this, by the way, is the, whoops, hang on here. This is the latest version that they've sent me. And you can see that it's got a complete desaturation. There's a flatness to the color. But I do have to say that at least they, the lettering is sharper. And the lines are sharper. The artist isn't any good, but the line is sharper, and but the color's flat, very desaturated compared to this approved copy. And I like saturated colors, but then they overdid it. I mean, look how dark the characters are, especially the reds and the oranges. They're just overpowering. Loss of detail, blurry, and this is what Dorrance Publishing said is an acceptable, I forget how they put it, but it's an acceptable publishing difference, or an acceptable difference in print, or something like that. But they managed to print about 50 of these books, all exactly the same quality, and they never were able to reproduce this, which is the only copy that I approved. And I'm not too happy with it. And this, unfortunately, I've got boxes of these, and what the hell am I supposed to do with these? I've given them away, some of them as gifts and promotional copies and whatnot, but I can't give these away. I can't sell them on my own because they're terrible. That's the approved copy there. So this is just part of my experience. Okay, I'm kind of recording this sitting at my desk and looking at stuff, and I'm going to have to put up pictures of what I'm talking about and some of the comparisons that I've made. But I just wanted to put this video out there because I have a desire to help other writers, even though I'm a struggling one myself, and I'm struggling to make a living at it. I still want to help other people as much as I can. And this is a video about my experience with Dorrance Publishing. And I don't really know, I'm going to try to stay as professional as possible. I have emails to back up everything that I'm saying, and I'm not going to show those because I'm not going to black out the names or anything, but I do have emails to back up what I'm saying. I am not going to be talking about some of the things that happened over the phone because I have no way of proving that. I have no documentation of that. So what I'm sticking to is what I've got as far as provable facts. And you can see in the pictures that I'm going to put up just unfortunately, my camera, my phone on my camera is pretty limited, and so I'm just trying to show what happened to me with Dorrance Publishing. So I got, I've got those 3 books. I might have put the video in the front there, and you might have seen that. And it took me 3 years just to get to that approved copy. It was a very miserable experience. About November of 2021, I decided to go ahead because I'm a first-time publisher, or excuse me, this is going to be my first book. I've never dealt with a publisher before. I've never done anything professional before. So Dorrance was saying, that I had a good product here in Amberley in the Daylight Medallion. So I decided I didn't know the business, and I thought, well, these people do, so I'm going to sign a contract with them. So I did, and I ended up paying $5,000. You can go ahead and laugh at me in the comments. I paid $5,000 to these people, and the result has been, shall we say, less than stellar. I'm not making this video to have any kind of revenge or anything. This is just what happened, and it has taken the joy of writing and drawing Amberley stories away from me, to the point where I haven't done one since I started this whole process. And this is my first book. I thought these people were going to be professionals, and I expected them to know what I didn't know and everything. And so the first bit was that I had the book pretty much done. I had published it myself on Amazon, and it was, it turned out all right. And I also did an ebook version of it, and I think that's still up for sale. I haven't messed with it in a while, but I think it's still up for sale there on Kindle, Amazon. And but for years, I would send them a file over email. It would be what I thought was ready to print, and then I'd get a printed copy in the mail for my approval, a proof they call it, and it would be terrible. It would be, the margins were wrong, the pages weren't centered, and this went on for 3 years, and every time I'd get a new book, I would open it up, and my hopes would just be dashed. And it was a very heartbreaking experience because I didn't know what the hell was going on. And so finally I kept pestering them. And by the way, and all through this time, either they would answer me with, well, send us another file, and I would make some corrections. I didn't know what I was doing. So I would send these pictures back, or excuse me, the file back, and I'd get another book, and it would be months before I'd get another book, and it would be wrong. The margin, the oh God, what do you call it? The edges were just too close to the edge of the paper. Word balloons were getting cut off and everything. And finally, after years of complaining about this, they finally talked to the printer, and the printer said, "Oh, well, you don't have bleed set on your images," and now I know that is JPEG 101. You're supposed to know that. Hell, I'd never printed anything professionally, so I didn't know about bleed, and I'm supposed to set a 25 quarter of an inch bleed around the images, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, so I sent them that copy. In the meantime, I'm sending these people emails And I would get responses like, "Hey, nobody's here. We're closed for the holidays," and I'm like, "Dear God!" And then they'd never get back to me, or if they did get back to me, it would be just, "Well, we'll try it again and send you. We'll do something, and we'll send you another copy." And this just went on for years. And finally, I think it was around January of 2025. Now, during this time, by the way, I'm taking care of my stepfather, who had dementia and Alzheimer's, and it was the long-term kind. So I'm trying to take care of him and my grandparents. Their health is failing. I'm trying to take care of them as well, and it's just me and Mumsy trying to take care of these three people. And so I had other things on my mind. And I'm not blaming Dorrance entirely. A lot of these problems stemmed from my ignorance, but they sure as hell didn't go out of their way to help me. I mean, it took them 3 years to figure out that I didn't know what bleed was. And, if they'd have mentioned that in the first 10 minutes of the contract negotiations, I'd have been able to figure that out easy. But anyway, trying not to bitch. So finally, around, I think it was January of 2025, I finally got a copy that was perfect. And I mean, it looked great. The saturation was great. The color looked great. The line work was sharp. It was beautiful. So I approved it. So they're like, "Okay, we can go ahead with printing," and they're going to get it up for sale on their website, and I don't know, do something on Amazon, and hell, I don't know what they've done. And they promised me a bunch of promotional stuff. I've never seen anything. Maybe I forgot to do something. I don't know, but I've never seen any promotional stuff, and they sure as hell haven't gone out of their way to promote it, as far as I can tell. And anyway, so I get this box, and I think I got 2 boxes, and I'm not sure how many copies they sent, maybe 50 or so. And man, every one of them was the most god-awful looking thing you'd ever seen in your life. And finally, oh yeah, the margins were great, but the black and white was blurry. So the wording was a little on the blurry side, and the color was so oversaturated, it was disgusting. And in the meantime, I can't get anybody to answer my emails. Or if I do, they brush me off as being over particular about things. And so I'm just, I thought we finally had a copy that was approved, and finally we can go to print. Finally we can, finally I'll become rich and famous and be signing autographs in France, and that ain't happening because I've got 2 boxes full of books I can't give away because they look terrible. And so I complain, I ask for help, and I'm sending these people emails. Nobody's answering me. So I finally had to file a complaint with the BBB, the Better Business Bureau. And I sent them pictures. I was taking photographs of these. Look, this is blurry. This is oversaturated. And there's 2 parts of the comic book, the graphic novel that I've written. One of them is in color. One of them is in black and white. And the black and white was blurry. And I'm going to be putting up pictures throughout this video, so I hope I'm timing them right. But I'm just recording this on my phone right now, and it's still finally after the BBB complaint, they finally answered me, and they sent me another copy, and of course it was garbage. And I said, look, this is unacceptable, but in their own terms, and I'm not looking at the emails, and I'm not going to go digging through it and find it, because at this point I don't care anymore. Their term was that this was an acceptable printing difference, and I said, no, it's not. I'm not approving any of this, and I don't think they care. But they finally sent me another copy, because according to them, the printer that they had been using had gone out of business. And I can kind of see why, because their books look like crap. But I digress. The copy that I finally got, that they're now contracted out, I guess, with a new printer, and so I get this copy, and they've fixed it. I have to admit that they did fix the sharpness issue especially in the black and white. The black and white looks pretty good, except it's a little on the faded side, and I hope I'm throwing up some pictures for you to see. But compared to the original approved copy, it's not even in the same league. And, you know, I've got a character here by the name of Buckles. That's the name of the horse there. And he is an entirely black character defined by white lines. And those white lines barely show up on the good copy. And as you can see, I'm going to throw up a picture of him in the blurry copy, the second batch of copies. You know, it starts to lose definition, and when you're dealing with very few lines to get across what you're trying to get across, you need all the line work that you can get, and you start to lose the features, and the wording is blurry and everything. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought, but the fact of the matter is it just wasn't that good. And I'm going to throw up some more pictures here. This is the approved copy, and this is the latest copy. Now, I got this on May, no, hang on. I think it was May 20th of this year. I haven't even bothered to respond, because to them, you know, their constant response was, this is an acceptable printing, you know, margin of error and everything else. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. And, you know, this whole experience just wiped me out to the point where I don't ever want to do this ever again. Not, and certainly not with Dorrance. You know, they don't listen to you. They do, but they don't care. I don't know really what else to say. I mean, my ignorance bit me in the ass in this whole process as well, and I'm just giving out a warning to other writers and people with aspirations in this business that this is my experience, and I don't know about other people's experiences with Dorrance Publishing. I haven't gone out and looked for other people. I don't know. I don't know what. If you've had an experience with Dorrance and it was good, then I'm happy for you, and please leave a comment. You know, it was just the whole experience was unacceptable, and for $5,000, it sure as hell wasn't worth it. And now I've got boxes of copies that I can't give away, or I do give away, but I have to explain to whoever I hand a book copy to that the color is terrible, and that it's you know, I have to explain this whole story about how how Dorrance considers this to be acceptable. And you know, sorry it looks like so bad. I actually I steer people toward the ebook on Amazon now, and I'm just telling you, for your own sake, this is what happened to me. I'm not trying to tell you that Dorrance is, you know, I'm not saying that Dorrance is a scam. I'm not saying that you know, they're populated by pure evil or anything. I'm just saying that this has been what I went through. Years of very hurtful disappointments. This was my first publishing experience, and it will be my last publishing experience with Vanity Publishing, with whatever you call Dorrance Publishing. You know, they're not exactly vanity, but if you're an aspiring professional, your own don't go this route. I'm just warning you. Do the self-publishing thing or do the traditional publishing thing. And I don't have any information on either one of those either. I'm just telling you this is what happened to me. And you know what? I wish you the best. And if you haven't had any experience like this, leave it in the comments. And hopefully I've steered a few people away from making the same mistakes that I have. So I guess I'm done. I can't think of anything else to bellyache about. So I hope this helps, and thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a good day.